Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to today's webinar. As you're all filing in, I would love for you to introduce yourself, your name, what institution or collection you're working with or from, and your location. Thanks, Cassidy, for jumping off. Hi, everyone. As you're all filing in, we're just introducing ourselves in the chat. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Artwork Archives webinar. Hey. Nice to see you, Patrick. Nice to see you, Ebony, Stacy, Alessandro, part of the Artwork Archive team. Glad you're sitting in. Alex from New York. Okay, I say this in all my webinars, but hopefully you see someone from a past webinar that you were introduced to, or you see a neighbor down the street. And with that, I'm going to start our webinar. As you all continue to introduce yourself, that would be wonderful. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Artists, Donors, Appraisers, oh my, Better Content Management, Contact Management with Artwork Archive. This webinar is for collectors and organizations, so those working within collection management. A few things before we jump into the webinar today. We are recording. And this recording will be shared within 24 hours to all registrants. So we'll get this out to you via email tomorrow. We have time for questions at the end, so please submit questions and comments to be answered via the Q&A icon at the bottom in the bar at the bottom of your screen. And then please use chat to introduce yourself if you haven't done so already. And for any technical support, my awesome teammate Cassidy is here to be of help. So Q&A is for questions, chat for any support you need. And if you do need captions, you can enable the full transcript by clicking into live transcript script below. And we have an icon here that shows that. And we wanted to know a little bit more about the folks that are here within the presentation to know what type of organization you come from. So Cassidy, do you mind launching the poll? Great, thanks. So if you could just take a few moments to fill out the quick poll. There's 3 questions that has just come up onto your screen. What best describes your organization and collection? Your role within that. And then if you currently use Artwork Archive, very helpful because we share this webinar with all sorts of audiences. And so it's helpful for me to know when I show our Artwork Archive platform, how much familiarity you have with it. Okay, great. Polls being populated, coming on in. Looks like we have, as always, with these collection management webinars, a great spread of different types of organizations. We have academic, commercial galleries, small museums, historical societies, nonprofit art centers. It's really even. Public art programs, a foundation, personal private collections, great, wonderful. And the good old other. A lot of directors, registrars, collection managers, people who wear all the hats. I see you. I used to run a public art program, so I get that. And then a number of folks coming in that are new to Artwork Archive, and then a bunch of our subscribed clients. So to those that are new to Artwork Archive, I do a lot of these free educational webinars, produce content e-guides, articles, presentations. But we as a company are an online art database. And so art collections use us to organize, manage, share out their collections. And so I will be using Artwork Archive as an example for contact management and all the different ins and outs. And for those that are using Artwork Archive, hopefully this will present some new ways for you to use the platform and some tips that you didn't know about. So we're going to end that poll. Thanks everyone for answering it, sharing our results so you can see who is joining you here on this webinar. And with that, I'm actually going to jump out of my slideshow and into Artwork Archive so we can get into the meat and potatoes. So contact management, in the description, we shared that, you're taking care of artworks for sure within collection management, but it's not just the artworks that we organize and manage and preserve. Contacts, the people behind the collection are a big piece of that as well. And so because of that, Artwork Archive has a CRM built into our database located here on the left-hand side. And so the title of the webinar, artists and appraisers, donors, oh my, just a tease of all the different types of folks that you all work with within your collection. And so we'll cover that, how to manage, how to build and strengthen relationships with donors, with lenders, with your artists, conservators, appraisers, gallerists, curators, a lot of people that your art collection engages with. So here within the context tool, I'm going to scroll down to an artist record because that's probably someone that we all have in common to start with. So here I will click into Joanne. And no matter if you are coming from a corporate collection, a private collection, a nonprofit, a public art program, a hospital, so crucial to keep track of all of the information about our artists and our collection to help promote and preserve their legacy and in part the legacy of your collection as well. And so, keeping track of the birth date, nationality, for one, for legacy purposes and that information of their past, but also, if it's a contemporary artist that you're working with, that you are commissioning, that is exhibiting with you, so crucial to have the key contact information, email, phone, address, so you can stay in touch with them when you are on the go or at your computer. A few things to note that is really helpful if you're not using it already for those that are using Artwork Archive is groups and tags. And so, we talk a lot about categorizing your artworks and putting them into collections in previous webinars that I have hosted, but it's great to have that same mindset and mentality when thinking about the people that are working within your collection, your artists. And so you can create groups to categorize your artists in any way. So here we have a group for female artists, so important as we think about diversifying the demographics of the artists that we are representing in our collections. And so making sure we are doing that due diligence and able to report and reflect and also share out to our communities. And then tags are a key tag that you can assign to a contact. It can be, a subject matter, as we have here, she's a 2023 finalist in a competition. So any tag and keyword that helps you say you are a gallery and you have a buyer that's interested in contemporary oceanscapes, you can quickly pull all of your artists that work within that subject matter. Or a scholar who's interested in artists from Mexico in the 20th century, you can quickly pull all of the artists that are reflected in your collection to share out with that scholar. Reminders are here for you to stay on top of those contacts and on top of all the to-dos and tasks. So with artists, they may be dropping off artworks for an exhibition. You may have a studio visit. If it is a lender, it could be a reminder to send over the contract. And what's wonderful is that you can sync these to your calendar. And every Monday morning, we'll send you an email of all reminders that you put into Artwork Archive, so you can stay on top of all of those tasks. You can also keep track of, within this contact management piece, all of the communications that's going on with your artists, your lenders, your donors, your scholars, et cetera. And so here we have a list of what you have recently shared out from your Artwork Archive account. So if you did send out that consignment report, or rather you forget if you sent out that consignment report, you can see that you shared it with the artist directly from your account. The bio, very important for an artist. The artworks of theirs that are in your collection. You can also keep track of recent accounting. So here we have an example of a shipment payment that Joanne made. But really the great use case, and I have one for a donor, is that your donors may also, in addition to the artworks that they are donating to your collection, they may also donate funds for an annual appeal or towards conservation and maintenance. And so you can keep track of all of that accounting within the contact record to see what they have sent. Maybe in years past, the donor has sent funds for conservation, but in the past 2 years, they haven't. So you want to follow up or work with your foundation or your development team to stay on top of that. Additional files. So for our artist here, we have an example of having an artist statement. If you are commissioning them, it may be the contract and the agreement. Any files. You can also upload videos here. And so maybe it's a interview with the artist about their portfolio, whatever it may be. And so really important, again, for preserving the legacy of the artist and the cultural heritage behind the work. And so capturing those stories that are so crucial to the artworks and to your collection at large. And so for collectors, private collectors, this can also be correspondence with the artist. It could be flyers, newsletters from their shows that they've invited you to. Again, thinking about the preservation of the legacy of your collection, your relationship with the artist, and vice versa, the artist's relationship with you. It was really helpful to see who is here on the webinar. So we have our private collectors, and then we also have a range of different types of organizations. As I said, I'm using Artwork Archive as an example for the contact management piece and how to keep track of all of these details. One thing I will note is I am in the organization plan. So there are a few things here that collectors will not have access to. And this artist upload is one. So the artist upload form is available for organizations because this is supposed to help you stay on top of all of the artwork submissions that come in via calls for artists, exhibitions, if you're putting together an artist roster, or just, sometimes there's just admin that takes time adding artworks into your account. If you have a new acquisition, portfolio pieces, say 5 pieces, or a donor is sending over 10 or 15 pieces, they can submit the artworks directly into your account, so you do not have to enter it. And what that looks like is, in order for artists to upload directly into your accounts, they need to be a contact within your account. You want to turn this on, so make sure that the submissions is on, and then the system will create a URL. You assign a password, and then you send this over to the artist. And so I have a lot of clients that are using this, UVA Health, Gifts of Art, Michigan Medicine, that use this for collecting information and updating contact information for their artists. And I did have a help doc pulled up so you could see what this looked like, but I had to restart my browser, so it went away. But it may be helpful for you to know what this looks like for the artist. And so I wanted to pull up a screenshot of the form. Let me zoom in. So if you send this form to an artist, they can update their contact information, which is great if they've moved, if they've gotten married, their name has changed, and then they send you the information about the artworks. And so here you'll see that there's a title field, type of art, medium, they can upload the images. And if they're artwork archive artists, then they can even submit artworks directly into your account by selecting the pieces from their account, which is really, really helpful. And then once you have all of these submissions from the artist, it will live within your pieces, and you can sort by last updated to see, or recently added to see what has come in. And then you can easily throw them into an exhibition, create a new show, and assign pieces by filtering by the artist or recently added. So this creates really efficient communication with your artists and management of exhibitions. You can quickly find and pull the artworks that have been submitted by the artist into an exhibition. And of course, I picked an artist that didn't have any pieces. Okay, so let's go back into contacts. As I said, there's a number of ways to categorize your contacts so you can quickly find the people that you need, their contact information, so you can connect with them, maybe send out an invite. So you can create contact groups for anything. So here's some examples that we have in our demo account. So we have California artists, collectors, Denver-based, so it can be based on geography or type of art. You can keep track of the visitors that have come into the gallery. If you're creating rosters, you can have qualified artist pools, your shipping companies, again, groups based off of demographics, so keeping track of your local artists or your female artists. So contact groups are really great for corralling all of the folks that play a part in your collection. And then we also have a number of filters. So maybe you need to quickly pull up a maintenance contact or an appraiser. You can find all of your appraisers. And you can see what their focus is. So maybe you have a painting, an old master painting, and you need to pull up an appraiser to get it appraised. You can find the right appraiser that you've worked with in the past to appraise this piece. Again, you can filter by contact groups, by locations, by those tags. And then you can also see who has the upload functionality assigned to their contact. I also wanted to show you, when we think about contact management and all the people that play a role in our artworks and in our collection, just looking at an object record tells that story. So if I click into this one piece, you'll see that we have the artist. We also have the donor, how the piece came into the collection, the appraisers. And scrolling down, the maintenance, the conservators, the who have been conserving and working on the artworks for you. So if I scroll back up and open up a donor record, Now, we mentioned in the promotion of this webinar, the importance of building and strengthening relationships with your donors. And so a few tips in that, if you are keeping track of them within your art database. So we have here Jack. So one, you can add reminders, stay on top of communications with him. You can group him in to your various groups. And so, if this was an academic institution and he's the class of 1980, you have that. Denver-based, if you are traveling and you're going to be in the area, you can check in with him, take him out for coffee. Tags to keep track of interests. All the information that helps you cultivate your relationship. And you may have a development team that has a Razor's Edge, an eTapestry, their own donor tracking. Awesome and great. If you are a smaller organization, or you are a private collector and you're just trying to keep track of your professionals, the art professionals that you are working with, you can do it all connected to your art collection, which is really helpful. And so again, here with the donor, we have what reports you have shared with them, bio, notes, really great for back-end contact management, relationship building, some notes that you need to know about his involvement with your collection. You can see all the wonderful pieces that he has donated. You can also track loans, and so it looks like he did loan a piece, but it has been returned to him. Phew, relief. And as I mentioned earlier, those accounting records. And so you can see here that he gave a gift, those additional files. And so you can view, download, send out the loan agreement to anyone who needs it. Okay. Now I wanted to show you how contacts can also be attached to your locations. So here we have a storage facility, and say you don't want to drive to the storage facility to check in on a piece, you can click in and find that contact, the person who is the contact at the facility, connect with them. Really great also for loans. You can have that contact associated with the museum, with the institution, so you can always get a hold of them if you have any questions. And so the thing to just note here is that within your art database, it's interrelational. So it's not just the contacts in the contacts field, but understanding and seeing how these contacts are playing a part in all elements of your art collection. So with your pieces, with the appraisals, with the location. And with sales, so I saw that there were some galleries. And so, oops, I'm going to click into income. Or even if you are a nonprofit and you're selling artworks as part of a fundraiser, you can keep track of all of your clients here. So if you are a gallery, you can view, based off of a client and see what their interests are, what are their purchasing patterns. So if you have a new work that is in line with that, you can send it over to them. You can generate invoices and send them directly to them so you can get paid faster. So you can click here and see the invoices. So you can check in to see if Justin has paid that invoice. Looks like he hasn't, so you might want to touch base with him. So all the different moving pieces that are part of our collection, whether we are a commercial gallery, a corporate collection, or a nonprofit, or a private collector, so many different ways for you to track the information about each person that is interacting with your collection. So that's on the back end of things. There is also a lot of great work that can be done to share out your collection. and the participating artists. In the marketing of this webinar, we mentioned artist rosters and preserving the legacy of the artists that are part of your collection. So I'm going to show you the public-facing side of things and how you can amplify the work of the artists in your collection and share it out. So if you're using Artwork Archive, you may already have a public profile. It's available to artists, to collectors, to all organizations. And you don't have to make it public, but if you are interested in garnering more awareness of your collection and the artists that are participating within it, you can turn this on and it's synced to your database. So as I click into the Gifts of Art program and click into artists, we have a beautiful grid view, and so folks can learn more about the artists. If I click in, can learn more about Ladin. That bio that you've populated in the back end is shown. Scroll down. Here we have another artist, their beautiful artist statement, then the about, and seeing the work of theirs in that collection. I have another great example. In the Lilly Museum of Art in Reno, Nevada. So again, viewing the artists, and click in and learn more about Lawrence and see the works of theirs in the collection. I can also search or view all of the artists, the amazing artists in their collection, and see that. So here you have your artist roster, or you can actually embed your artists onto your website. And I have a few examples to show you. So this is from Winter Park Paintout. They have included all of their participating artists in this fundraiser. And so if I click into Catherine, see the pieces of hers in the fundraiser, quote, her website. The Marjorie Barrick Museum of Art in Las Vegas embeds their entire collection and includes an artist dropdown, so I can click and see the other works of Allison's. Oops. And then for those that are using Artwork Archive and have an artist roster, I wanted to show a really great example that is from the trustees in Massachusetts. They partner with the De Cordova for a corporate art lending program. And they have their entire lending roster available and embedded onto their website via an exhibition. So they've created an exhibition so you can scroll through and see the different types of artworks that are available. But then if I scroll down, I can view the roster. You can see a hero image from each artist, click in, learn more about Dorothy, and see her works available. And another way to present this type of a view of all of the artists within your roster or your collection. So if I go to my profile, go to integrations, because I'm talking about the website embed. So you can embed the individual artist page like Winter Park did, or you can embed that entire artist list, that grid view or list view of all the artists that are in your collection or are part of your roster, and that can be synced to your website. So if you have a new call for artists and you've added new artists to your roster, or if you have a new acquisition, then they are automatically reflected onto your website through that embed. And a few other things for those that use Artwork Archive. A reminder that within your public profile, you can make your artist page the first thing that people see on the public profile. It doesn't have to be the portfolio, or it could be about, but if you want to showcase your artist first and foremost, then we have this functionality that you can have the default setting be for artists. And then you can also have that grid view that a lot of our clients have opted into versus the list view, the tile view. And so that is the public facing side of things. And I see that we have a question. So I'm going to stop my share and feel free to start typing in questions, especially for those that use Artwork Archive. If you have any questions about how to use the contacts tool to keep track of all the various folks that are within your collection. I may have missed this, but is there a way to determine within a record whether or not the contact information is current or not? We often struggle with knowing whether or not an email or phone number in our database is current or not if we haven't made some type of note like current as of date. That's a really good question. So a few things to note on that. You can actually track when a record was last updated. And so if I go into contacts and I click into Joanne and scroll down, you can see when a contact record was last updated and by whom. You can also view that within the activity log, which shows all updates to your platform. But maybe I love these types of webinars and questions because we can get creative. If tracking up-to-date information is vital and important across collaborating with multiple colleagues, then maybe some best practice is within tags or notes, you have a note of, this is the contact record information last updated December 1st, 2023. And if you do use that upload form for artists or for donors and they are submitting artworks directly into their account, they can also update their contact information. And so that way, you are pulling the most up-to-date contact information for them. But, to wrap up, the activity log will be really helpful to see when something was last updated. Tags to know you can assign, the last update time. And then also the upload feature will help you, keep up-to-date information. And because I'm on cold medicine, I completely forgot one of the things I wanted to share, speaking of like up-to-date information. If you are using Artwork Archive or interested in using Artwork Archive, we have a piece import for you to, if you're coming over from a different database, a different collection management system, but we also have an import for contacts. So you can populate this, you can export from your other database, or if you have your own spreadsheet, all the fields that I showed you within the contact record are here within the import. And so we will populate the account for you. And then once you have all of that contact information within your database, you can also run reports. So you can download all of the contact information as a report. You can create address labels that are formatted to print on Avery labels, or you can just export this to a spreadsheet for you to manipulate in any way that you need to. You can also create a report for a particular group. So if you have a mailing for, a particular exhibition coming up, you can filter by that group and then create the report. So Patrick asked, can you share how mailings could be sent to contacts via Artwork Archive? So you can't send out newsletters from Artwork Archive, but you can share out a number of various materials to your contacts. And I'm glad you asked, because this is a big piece of that contact management, right? The collaboration, the sharing. And so you can send out private rooms, which are curated viewing rooms, to your contacts. They can favorite and message. You can see who you have sent it to and see the messages. If you are sending a report, so maybe you're sending insurance report to your insurance broker, or you are a private collector and you are sending out your an inventory report for all of the artworks that you're going to bequeath to your sons and daughters, and you want to send it over so they can see it, you can share directly from Artwork Archive. And so I can send it to a contact, or you can send it to one of your groups that you have already curated and send a message. And then this will send the report directly to your contacts. And then when you go on the contact record, you'll see that you did send the insurance report to your insurance broker last month after that flood. Maybe that's top of mind, so that's not a good example. Any other questions?
Elysian, there was one that we answered in the chat, but might be fun to go over for anyone else who has questions about it. There was, can you include live press links anywhere within a contact or only attachments? And then if only attachments, which file formats are allowed? PDFs, video formatting, Word docs. Could you touch on that or show where you can include that kind of information in the contact record?
Really good question. Press links. Okay, so let's go back to Joanne. So you can attach any type of, there's a couple of answers to this. You can attach any type of document to a contact record, any contact record, any person. So that's under additional files. And the file type can be a video, an audio file, a PDF, an image. And you can save that to the record. If you want it to be publicly viewable, then you can include the HTML in the bio. So for the contact, say it's a press release, Cassidy, if you could pull up, there's like it's like, let me Google it for you. There is a description of how you include HTML, how you include a link in text, and it's the href. HTML, if anyone's familiar with that. So if you have a link to your press release, you can link it. You can just like include the link in the bio, fine. But if you want it to look cleaner, then you can include the href and it will hyperlink the press release for you. And I actually have a great example. It's not on an artist, but it is on an exhibition. So let me pull up one of those examples. And then on those artist pages, you can link to their website, you can link to their social. Here we are on the Barrick, pardon the scroll, because the example I know is down here. So press release, it jogged my mind. The Barrick has inserted the link using the href quotes so that it can create a hyperlink within their text to include the press release. So this could also be included on the artist profile page for public viewing. But there's a lot of different options for including information, especially for the back end for your own organization. So you can include that in bio. But there's also a notes field, which will always be private. And I showed that a little bit earlier, but a great place to add additional information for your contact as well. If I scroll down, you can see where you can add social media links. So your contemporary artists, for those that are displaying your artists, even private collectors have been doing this. You know, if they're thinking about starting a foundation or lending or donating to a museum or even starting up their own museum, the public facing side of things has been really, really helpful for them to share the artists in their collection and their impact. Any other questions that came in through the chat, Cassidy?
Yeah, there was one more. How do you designate a contact as an artist or appraiser outside of the groups function?
Oh, really good question. I didn't show it, so thank you. Okay. So if I go into new contact, you'll see that we have those associations already listed. So you can assign them as an artist or an appraiser or a donor or maintenance contact. And if they don't fall into one of those buckets, you can create a group for that grouping. So it could be your installers or your photographers. That's a really, really good question. And so this kind of shows you, you know, lay of the land of all the information that you can keep track of for your contacts, whether they're artists or appraisers. And all that information can be populated within that import spreadsheet as well. But you'll find those, and then sellers and clients are also bucketed by when you sell an artwork to someone, then they'll become a client. If I click into Rebecca as an appraiser, I have all that information. I can see what she has appraised. So I know if she's a good person for the work I need to get appraised. And this is also really helpful. One thing I didn't mention earlier is that by having all of this information about your contacts synced to your art collection, you know, if you leave and head off for another role, then you know, the person who succeeds you will have all the information at their fingertips, and there's no questioning about who's been used in the past, you know, an artist submission, whatever it may be. It's all here for the new person to understand.
And then we had some come in the chat. Can that be done in bulk, just one by one?
What can be, sorry, what can be done in bulk?
Yeah, Kirsten, maybe, I think she's asking about maybe tagging people as artists, but I'll ask her to clarify. And then Kathy asked, when I open the artist upload to individual artists, can I have them update their own contact information at that time, like their address, their birth date, etc.?
Yeah, so with the artist upload, exactly, there's a little button that they press that says update contact information, and that's where they can send you all their new information, and then that will be populated in the contact record.
Okay, so clarification on that question, can it be done in both artist versus appraiser?
Gotcha. Yeah, and so we have quick edit. And so if you need to quickly edit the contact, but if you are an artwork archive client and you do want to assign these groups or these relations in bulk, just let us know, and we're happy to help. Because there's no way to do it within the contact You can bulk edit your pieces, but we don't have bulk edit for contacts yet. And then I saw a question from Patrick. Can you upload a document and share that to associations or groups as listed in contacts? Yeah, so say you want to share this artist statement with a selection committee considering this artist. You can share directly from your artwork archive account. So if you go to the file, the drop down arrow, and then click share, same functionality that I showed you from sharing a report. You can send it to a particular contact or to a group. And then when you pick the group, as long as they have emails associated with their names, they'll be populated within that email send. You can include a message, send a copy to yourself in your email so you can track it. And so you can send a document, a file right from your contact records as well. It's a good question. Any others? I was hoping this could be like a sandbox, like a time for us to work through our different contact management needs. Like any questions from advisors that are maintaining relationships with multiple clients, or for the private collectors that are communicating with your insurance brokers or your art attorneys for estate planning. And if you don't have any questions, let me click into my next slide. So with the recording, you'll also get, it's a teeny tiny slideshow, because a lot of this presentation was my sharing of the screen, but I will send out this slide so that you have helpful articles around contact management and some help docs if you are using Artwork Archive to get the most out of the contacts, how to import contacts, how to create contacts groups, how to use that artist upload form. So we have a lot of helpful resources, after the fact, after you've digested this presentation and thinking through how you're currently using contacts within Artwork Archive, or how you want to utilize more of the functionality, then these help docs will hopefully be of assistance. We have a blog. There'll be plenty more content about collection management. And then you can also, this slide will come out, if you're not already a member of our newsletter, you can get information. I include collection management tips in our newsletters every month. And you can contact us, myself, Cassidy, who is an incredible helper with our customer support, via team at Artwork Archive, or via chat if you have any other questions. Oh, and I see one more question. You did all that spiel. Do you anticipate having a field for artist statements? Yeah. So Kirsten, if you want to, I showed an example of an artist profile from Gifts of Medicine, in which they include artist statement and bio. What they did was they had both saved in the bio, because that's what showcases on the public facing side of things. And so right now you can host both just within that field, and segment it by titling it artist statement and artist bio. But I'll bring the consideration to the team for questions around an additional artist statement field.
And then we had one more question in the Q&A.
I see that.
Okay.
Very good question. When you send an email or a shared document, from Artwork Archive, does it have company details and an email signature? And so that is a very good question. I believe the answer is no. Can you back that up, Cassidy, since you've been also
Yeah,
testing?
think there's an email signature because when you share it from Artwork Archive itself, it'll come from your account in Artwork Archive. So it'll, if you have your logo, I think your logo is attached if your logo is on your account, but I'll have to verify that. But there's no signature.
Yeah, because we're not sending it from your Gmail or your Outlook. It's getting shared out from Artwork Archive. It is an email, but it won't have the signature that you have like saved to your Gmail or Outlook. So if you don't like that, and you want that signature, feel free to continue using your email. Sending out directly from Artwork Archive was just supposed to be of help, and streamline communication, and being able to share directly without having to, like, say, download the document and attach it to an email within your inbox. And so it really, the workflow is supposed to be flexible to meet your needs. So if you want that signature, then feel free not to send it directly out from Artwork Archive because it won't include it.
There is a note section though, so when, or a message section when you're sending a file, so you could attach it there if you need.
Exactly. Oops. I was just gonna pull up. So let's go back to contacts and Joanne. And share. So we have this message section. And so it can have your message, and then at the bottom, you can include your signature too.
Oh, I don't think you're sharing. Can't see that.
Ah, I'm not, that's why. My own little personal show. Okay, let me step back. Sorry, thanks, Cassie. This is why she's on the webinars. So I don't do kooky things in my home office here in Denver. So if I share this document, what Cassidy was mentioning is here in the message, you can have the body of your message and then, include your name and signature here. So it will be included in the message that they see. So they're not like, who is this Annie? They know.
And then lastly, Ebony has a question. You can customize other aspects of the CRM settings. Maybe it was a statement with a question mark, but I'm curious what other aspects you had in mind, Ebony, to clarify.
Yeah, let us know. This is also a great time for Cassie and I to hear, how you all are using your contacts and what your needs are, and if you have any advice or thoughts. So if you have anything to echo on that, Ebony, on what specifically for customization? Well, another question from Ebony. We use Salesforce for our communications and we may need to integrate. Is Artwork Archive able to do that? Well, for those that have stuck around to the end, I'll leak out some some integrations that we're working with. So we are not necessarily with Salesforce, but we are working on an integration with MailChimp. And what that is that so sharing of contacts back and forth. For Salesforce, you can always export your contacts from Artwork Archive and upload it into Salesforce. Or vice versa, if you want to do a merge with your Salesforce data and you want to populate it into Artwork Archive, you can export that from Salesforce. And then we'll do that import, that contact import that I shared, and to get the information into Artwork Archive. But right now there's no, bridge connector between the two. Constant contact integration. Thanks, Alex. We always prioritize our different integrations and with the platforms that our clients are using the most. And so good to hear about constant contact. I used to use that back in my old role in public art. The other thing to share is that with that artist upload form, we are going to enhance that, and we are working on a feature that will enable you to have open calls and to submit allow artists to submit artworks via a call submitter. So that is also on the docket and being in the works. So for those that are hosting calls for rosters, hopefully this will help you streamline and pull in as many artists and artworks as possible. And Patrick, we will definitely keep you in the loop about the MailChimp integration as it's being worked on within product. And thanks to all of your really great questions. I'm just making sure I'm not missing any. Oh, I've been researching potential hosting locations for a traveling exhibition. The information is in a Google Sheet. They are not clients yet. What would be the best way to enter potential clients? Great question. If you already have it in a Google Sheet, we can import that into your Artwork Archive account, or you can, depending on how many are in that group, you can add them one at a time. But a contact within contacts can be anyone. It's not like it's going to take up a piece count in your plan is going to change based off of that. You have unlimited contact storage. And so it may be people that you haven't even been in contact with. It could be potential leads. So maybe you were at an art fair and you met a bunch of people and you want to upload them and have them as a particular group so you can stay on tabs, right? And communicate with them, send them private rooms or reports of upcoming inventory sheets that show upcoming shows. You know, my brain is like dwindling of what I'm trying to say. But the point I'm trying to get across is that if you have, folks that, aren't necessarily people that you have been communicating with or have a relationship with, they can still be contacts because you can cultivate and grow them and make them active participants in your collection. And by recording them here within Artwork Archive or your database of choice, you have record of them. So then, they don't get lost. They don't become just part of another Google Sheet or a spreadsheet that is like saved in a folder, not to be opened again for another year. And you can always schedule reminders if you want to, check in with that group or that person in a few months when the timing is right. And with that, we are at time. So if you have any other questions or anything comes up, feel free to contact us at team@artworkarchive.com. You can also contact us via this turquoise chat button. For those that are new to Artwork Archive or our webinars, this one was very much focused about our database and the feature within it. But I have a number of other collection management webinars about appraisals and insurance and managing and putting up shows successfully, art shows, maintenance and conservation. There's a number of other webinars that have other panelists, so it's just not me speaking for a full hour. So if you're interested in those, feel free to go to our webinars page on our website as well, because we have all the recordings there. And that is that. Thank you so much for everyone who attended, for joining. Thank you, Cassidy, for helping out. I really appreciate your support. Thank you for sending the link to the webinars, and everyone who took the time, whether new to Artwork Archive or a member. We really appreciate you all. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.